A grand office in Manhattan, 1975. A distinguished black man in an impeccably tailored suit stands before a massive mahogany desk, his presence commanding respect from every corner of the room. The bank president rises from his chair, extending his hand in greeting. "Mr. Jackson," he says warmly, "it's an honor to have you consider our institution for acquisition." The visitor's eyes twinkle with a hint of amusement as he responds, "Please, call me Marcus. Though you once knew me simply as Boy, the one who shined your shoes in Houston back in '39. The bank president's face drains of color as recognition dawns. 36 years earlier, this same man had dismissed a young Shoeshine boy's dreams with cruel laughter. Now, that boy owns half the banking district in Los Angeles and is about to acquire this very institution. But our story doesn't begin in that Manhattan office. It begins on the sun-baked streets of Houston, where a young boy named Marcus Jackson carefully positions his Shoeshine box outside First National Bank every morning at precisely 8:45 a.m. Unlike other Shoeshine boys who chase customers wherever they can find them, Marcus has a strategy. The year is 1939, and Houston's racial divisions cut deeper than the Buffalo Bayou that splits the city. Black citizens live under the crushing weight of Jim Crow laws, their dreams confined by invisible barriers as solid as the bank's marble walls. But young Marcus has already learned that knowledge flows freely, if you know where to listen. Marcus appears fully absorbed in his work, but his ears catch every word. Each evening, mother and son share what they've learned, piecing together the puzzle of financial success one overheard conversation at a time. If you're finding inspiration in this tale of determination and strategic thinking, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories of individuals who changed history against all odds. By age 16, Marcus has compiled 3 notebooks full of financial wisdom, market insights, and investment strategies. A priceless education gleaned from the very people who would deny him entry into their world. But he needs more than knowledge. He needs an opportunity to put it into practice. That opportunity arrives in the form of Rachel Thompson, a young black teacher who becomes a regular customer at his Shoeshine stand. Unlike his other customers, she sees beyond the humble boy with the brush and recognizes the sharp mind behind his careful questions. Rachel begins bringing him books on business and mathematics, testing his understanding during their brief interactions. "Marcus," she tells him one day, "you've got the mind of a banker trapped in a Shoeshine boy's body. But remember, sometimes the best path forward isn't a straight line." These words stick with Marcus as he approaches adulthood in a city that seems determined to clip his wings before he can fly. But every restriction, every dismissal, every prejudiced encounter only strengthens his resolve. He doesn't just want to succeed. He wants to transform the very system that attempts to hold him back. As the 1940s dawn, Marcus begins to see the bigger picture. The same bankers who discuss million-dollar deals over their Shoeshines are making decisions that affect entire communities. He realizes that true power lies not just in wealth, but in controlling the flow of capital itself. This understanding shapes his ultimate goal. He doesn't just want to be rich. He wants to change the rules of the game. When Marcus turns 18, he makes a bold decision that surprises everyone except those who know him best. Instead of continuing his Shoeshine business, which now earns a decent income, he announces his plan to move to New Orleans, where racial restrictions are slightly less rigid. His father, who once cautioned against dreaming too big, now sees the fire in his son's eyes and understands that holding him back would be like trying to contain a force of nature. The night before his departure, Marcus visits his old Shoeshine spot one last time. As he stands before the bank's imposing facade, he makes a promise to himself. "One day, I'll walk through these doors as an owner, not a servant." Little does he know that his journey will take him far beyond the dreams of that determined young Shoeshine boy. His story is about to become a testament to the power of patient observation, strategic thinking, and unwavering persistence in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Marcus arrives in New Orleans with nothing but 3 notebooks of financial wisdom and an unwavering determination. The city's French Quarter buzzes with a different energy than Houston. Here, the lines of segregation blur slightly at the edges, creating tiny cracks of opportunity for those bold enough to find them. Their courtship unfolds over late-night conversations about business strategies and market analysis. Eva brings her own insights from the insurance industry, teaching Marcus about risk assessment and actuarial science. The real money isn't in selling houses, Eva tells him one evening. It's in understanding which properties are undervalued and why. Her words plant the seeds of what will become their first successful venture. Marcus and Eva marry in 1943, pooling their savings to rent a small apartment in the Treme neighborhood. By day, they work their respective jobs. By night, they pore over property listings, tax records, and city development plans. Eva's mathematical mind complements Marcus's strategic thinking perfectly. Their first breakthrough comes unexpectedly. While parking cars, Marcus overhears a conversation between two bank executives discussing the impending construction of a new streetcar line. That evening, he and Eva trace the proposed route on a city map, identifying properties likely to increase in value once the project is announced. Using Eva's savings and a loan from her uncle, they make their first investment, a rundown duplex 2 blocks from the future streetcar stop. The property costs them every penny they have, plus money they don't. For 6 months, they live in one half of the duplex while renovating the other side themselves, working every evening after their day jobs. Their gamble pays off when the streetcar announcement goes public. Property values in the area skyrocket, and suddenly their duplex is worth 3 times what they paid. But Marcus and Eva don't sell. Instead, they leverage the property's increased value to secure loans for more investments. Their strategy is methodical. Marcus uses his position at the bank to gather intelligence about upcoming development projects, while Eva analyzes tax records to identify properties with potential. They focus on areas that white real estate investors overlook. Neighborhoods on the edge of black districts, properties that need work but have good bones. By 1945, they own 5 properties in New Orleans. Each one is carefully chosen, renovated, and rented to reliable tenants. But Marcus hasn't forgotten his ultimate goal. He wants to change the banking system itself. He begins to understand that real estate is just the first step in a longer game. The real turning point comes in 1946 when Marcus meets Solomon Washington, a successful black businessman who owns several funeral homes. Solomon becomes their first major investor, impressed by their methodical approach to property investment. With his backing, Marcus and Eva expand their operation beyond New Orleans, buying properties in Baton Rouge and Mogul. Their reputation grows within the black business community. They become known for their fair dealings and strategic thinking. Other successful black entrepreneurs begin to seek them out, forming an informal network of investors who pool their resources to tackle larger projects. Marcus never forgets the lessons learned from his Shoeshine days. He maintains detailed notebooks of every conversation, every deal, every market trend. Eva develops a complex system for tracking their investments, creating financial models that predict property values with remarkable accuracy. But success brings its own challenges. White real estate agents begin to notice their operation, and not all are pleased to see black investors succeeding on this scale. Banks become increasingly reluctant to provide loans, forcing Marcus and Eva to be even more creative in their financing strategies. They develop a system of using white intermediaries to purchase properties in desirable areas, then quietly transferring ownership to their growing investment group. It's not ideal, but as Marcus often says, sometimes you have to play by their rules before you can change them. By 1948, their real estate portfolio has grown significantly, but Marcus is restless. The banking industry still maintains its rigid racial barriers, and he knows that real change requires more than just property ownership. He begins to formulate a bold plan that will either establish him as a major force in American banking or cost him everything he's built. During a trip to Houston to visit his parents, Marcus notices how the city has changed, and how it hasn't. The same bank where he once shined shoes still stands, its doors still effectively closed to black customers seeking loans. But now he sees it with different eyes. He's no longer the boy with dreams too big for his circumstances. He's a successful businessman with the resources to make those dreams reality. Eva recognizes the look in her husband's eyes. "You're thinking about banking again, aren't you?" she asks. Marcus nods, pulling out one of his old notebooks. "Everything we've done until now has been preparation," he says. "Real estate was never the end goal. It was just the foundation." If you're inspired by Marcus and Eva's strategic approach to breaking barriers, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more extraordinary stories of determination and success. Marcus and Eva move west to Sacramento in 1949, choosing the city for its growing economy and slightly more progressive racial attitudes. They bring with them a substantial real estate portfolio and, more importantly, a network of successful Black investors ready to back their most ambitious plan yet. In Sacramento, they meet Thomas Chen, a Chinese-American businessman who faces his own battles with discrimination in the banking sector. Thomas introduces them to the concept of shadow banking, unofficial financial networks that operate parallel to traditional banks. This meeting proves pivotal in shaping their strategy. The system isn't just unfair, Thomas explains during a late-night strategy session. It's inefficient. They're leaving money on the table by ignoring whole communities. Marcus and Eva exchange knowing looks. They've just found their angle. They establish the Sterling Jackson Investment Group, officially a real estate investment firm but quietly much more. Through their network, they begin providing informal loans to Black businesses and homebuyers who've been rejected by traditional banks. Every successful repayment strengthens their position and proves what Marcus has known since his Shoeshine days: skin color has nothing to do with creditworthiness. Eva develops a revolutionary risk assessment model that looks beyond traditional credit metrics, considering factors like community ties and business potential. Their default rate proves lower than many established banks, though few in the mainstream financial world would believe it. By 1952, their operation has grown so successful that it attracts attention from both allies and enemies. A senior VP at Pacific Western Bank, William Morrison, approaches them with an unusual proposal. The bank has been struggling with bad loans and needs fresh capital. Would Sterling Jackson consider becoming silent partners? Marcus immediately sees the opportunity, but Eva urges caution. "Remember Hudson Bank in New Orleans?" she warns, referring to a failed attempt at partnership that nearly cost them everything. But Marcus has learned from past mistakes. This time, they'll move more strategically. They agree to Morrison's proposal with one condition: they want access to the bank's internal operations data. For due diligence, Marcus explains smoothly. Morrison agrees, not realizing he's just given them a graduate course in bank management. For 2 years, Marcus and Eva study every aspect of Pacific Western's operations while their own shadow banking network continues to grow. They document everything, building on the habit Marcus developed as a Shoeshine boy. Every procedure, every regulation, every unwritten rule goes into their ever-expanding knowledge base. In 1954, they make their move. Through a complex series of transactions involving their real estate holdings and their investor network, they accumulate enough capital to acquire a controlling interest in Farmers Trust, a small but respected bank in Sacramento's agricultural district. The banking establishment reacts with predictable resistance. Anonymous threats arrive at their office. Regulatory inspections become suspiciously frequent. Some white customers withdraw their accounts. But Marcus and Eva have anticipated every move. They respond by expanding their services to previously underserved farming communities, offering innovative financing options for agricultural equipment. They hire staff from all backgrounds, creating the most diverse banking team in California. Most importantly, they maintain impeccable compliance with all regulations, giving their opponents no legitimate grounds for attack. Their success attracts attention from other marginalized communities. Japanese-American farmers, Mexican-American business owners, and other groups shut out by traditional banks begin bringing their business to Farmers Trust. The bank's deposits grow steadily, despite the ongoing quiet campaign against them. But Marcus and Eva haven't forgotten their roots. They establish a special program providing business loans to ambitious young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Each loan comes with mentoring and financial education, creating a new generation of entrepreneurs. In 1957, they expand to Los Angeles, acquiring the struggling First Municipal Bank through another carefully orchestrated series of transactions. The Los Angeles banking establishment, more entrenched and conservative than Sacramento's, reacts with open hostility. The California Banking Association, led by the powerful Harrison family, attempts to block their expansion through regulatory challenges. But Marcus and Eva have built their operation on an unshakable foundation of legal compliance and solid business practices. Every challenge is met with thick binders of documentation and impressive performance metrics. Their Los Angeles success brings national attention. Black entrepreneurs from across the country begin making pilgrimages to meet the couple who broke the banking industry's color barrier. But Marcus and Eva remain focused on their next moves rather than celebrating past victories. They begin quietly acquiring real estate around bank buildings in major cities, including that same Houston bank where Marcus once shined shoes. Property ownership gives you options, Marcus explains to their inner circle. When you own the building, you have leverage over the tenant, even if that tenant is a bank. By 1960, Sterling Jackson has evolved into a financial empire, but Marcus and Eva aren't satisfied. They've proven that black bankers can succeed, but they want to transform the entire system. They begin developing plans for a nationwide network of community-focused banks, each adapted to its local population's needs. The civil rights movement gains momentum, and though Marcus and Eva support it wholeheartedly, they maintain their focus on economic empowerment. Laws can change overnight, Marcus often says, but economic power creates lasting change. If you're inspired by this story of strategic genius and persistent determination, make sure to subscribe for more extraordinary tales of barrier-breaking achievements. Their story reaches a dramatic climax in 1965, when they launch a bold takeover bid for National Trust, one of the largest banks in the South. The same bank that once refused to let Marcus through its front door now faces the prospect of his ownership. The battle that follows becomes legend in banking circles. The old guard mobilizes every resource to block the takeover, but Marcus and Eva have spent decades preparing for this moment. They've assembled an unbeatable combination of financial power, legal expertise, and public support. The victory, when it comes, is comprehensive. National Trust becomes the flagship of their banking network. Its policies and practices transform to serve all communities equally. The Harrison family, their most vocal opponents, are forced to acknowledge defeat. Marcus celebrates by visiting his father back in Houston. James Jackson, now elderly but still sharp, walks with his son to the bank where it all began. "I told you some dreams weren't meant for people like us," the old man says, tears in his eyes. "I've never been happier to be wrong." Today, the Sterling Jackson Financial Group stands as a testament to the power of strategic thinking, unwavering determination, and the importance of economic justice. Their story has inspired generations of entrepreneurs from all backgrounds. Marcus and Eva retire to a quiet life of philanthropy, focusing on educational initiatives that teach financial literacy and entrepreneurship to underprivileged youth. Their legacy lives on not just in the banks they built, but in the thousands of lives they changed by proving that with enough determination and strategic thinking, any barrier can be broken.